On December 13, 2024, I was at the main branch of the Los Angeles Public Library. The time was about 5:20 p.m. or so about when I posted two photographs on Facebook of two men of Caucasian descent, and I put a caption under it. I was using the computer on lower level 1. My back was turned to them and their back was turned to me as they pretended to do their work. It would have been 2 weeks in the making. I've noticed each time I went to use the computer on lower level 1, these two men was never there. And at least 5 minutes after I shows up, both of them show up, and at times take up position immediately behind me. However, one thing that was common each time these two people showed up, I can smell the strong odor of some form of intoxicant. One of these men were using a vape pipe, which is in California a substitute for any drug you fancy. For example, if you are a crack addict, you can get crack in the form of a vape. If you are a meth addict, you can get meth in the form of a vape. If you are a heroin addict, you can get heroin, the same high of these drugs, in the form of a vape pipe. And no one will know the difference. I not only smelled the strange odor that came from the drugs they were using, I also felt my perception became altered. And each time they came, the same thing happened. First their presence, then their odor, which normally draws my attention to their presence, and then comes the altering of my perception or my mood, which means I get high. So it was based on these facts that I posted their photographs on Facebook. When such a thing happens, there are always people who are ready and willing to dispel your claims and try to give you the impression that you are either crazy or imagining things. But how can you imagine the odor of a drug that is being used in your presence? And how can you imagine the high that you are experiencing when you don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs, or even don't vape? I always pride myself as not being a smoker, a drinker, a drug user, or even a vapor. I have no reason to. On Monday the 23rd of December 2024, I went back to lower level 1 to use the computers at the main branch of the Los Angeles Public Library in the city of Los Angeles. When I got there were just a few people using the computers, and there were nobody using the charging port or behind the people who uses the computers. I sat down to use the computers once again, and while I sat there, I smelled the same odor that was customary when those two Caucasian men are present. And as always, that which followed the odor, I became intoxicated. I turned around only to see this Caucasian fella, the same man who I complained about previously, behind me. I took the opportunity to take some photos to show the proximity of his position to where I was sitting. And I make another post on Facebook outlining my experience at that time. Just a matter of minutes after I made the post on Facebook, the man began to pack up his stuff. Then he left. He is not one of my Facebook friends, and he is not one of my followers. The question I want to ask you is, how did he know that I made that post on Facebook? And why did he left so hurriedly? I am not a stupid fellow. Since I came to California, the Caucasian community have been trying to do two things to me. First, they're trying to get me involved in homosexuality, because they know the consequences of homosexuality. When you get involved in homosexuality, you become their slaves. And because they can't get involved in homosexuality, they were trying to get me addicted to drugs, because that may have been a gateway of getting me involved in homosexuality. The truth is, I did not report this matter to the library staff. What do you think would happen? I am a dignified, honest black man. This is a white, drug-addicted homosexual. What do you think they are going to do? I am not a stupid fellow. Since I came to California, the Caucasians community have been trying to do two things to me. First, they're trying to get me involved in homosexuality because they know the consequences of homosexuality. When you get involved in homosexuality, you become their slaves. And because they can't get involved in homosexuality, they were trying to get me addicted to drugs because that may have been a gateway of getting me involved in homosexuality. And here they are. Some 10 years later, they are still trying to get me to become addicted to some form of narcotic. This whole thing is pathetic. So am I imagining things?